Whoopi Goldberg is facing a fresh round of backlash after making another historically inaccurate statement about the Holocaust. Goldberg's comments have been widely condemned, with many calling for her to be fired from her role as a co-host on The View. Despite her apology, the calls for her firing continue to grow. Join Facts First as we investigate this situation in depth, as Whoopi Goldberg just doubled down and it will cost her her career. Repeating false Holocaust comments. Whoopi Goldberg's recent comments on the Holocaust have drawn criticism for many quarters. In an episode of The View, she said that the genocide of Jewish people wasn't racially motivated and that white-on-white violence was more common. Her original remarks were made during a broadcast of the ABC talk show that was partly centered on the Tennessee School District's choice to forbid the graphic novel Mouse, which depicts the Holocaust in all its horrors. The book was taken out of the 8th grade English language arts curriculum earlier this month by the McMinn County, Tennessee Board of Education due to its, quote, harsh, unpleasant language and a painting of a nudist. In a series of talks, Goldberg expressed surprise that the nudity in Mouse, rather than the Holocaust itself, seemed to worry the school board. Co-host Joy Behar responded that the nudity concerns were probably a hoax intended to distract learners from the fact they don't like history that portrays white people negatively. In her latest historically inaccurate statement about the Holocaust, Whoopi Goldberg claimed it was not originally about race, but instead about man's inhumanity to man. While this statement is not only inaccurate, it also downplays the horrific experiences of millions of Jewish people who were persecuted and murdered during the Holocaust. By claiming that it was not originally about race, Whoopi is suggesting that race was not a factor in the Nazis' decision to target and kill Jews. This is simply not true. The Nazi regime used propaganda to stir up anti-Semitic sentiment among the German people, and they used racial laws to systemically isolate, persecute, and ultimately exterminate Jews. There's no question race was a central factor in the Holocaust. These comments have been widely condemned, and Goldberg has since issued an apology. Her comments are particularly controversial given her previous statements on the Holocaust. In 2009, she said she did not believe the Holocaust happened and that the Jewish people who died were actually killed by the Nazis for political reasons. She later retracted these comments, saying she had been misinformed. Goldberg's remarks have been condemned by many, including Jewish groups and Holocaust survivors. Some have called for her to be fired from The View, while others have said she should be given a chance to educate herself on the subject. Remarks, apologies, and suspension. In the face of mounting backlash, Whoopi issued a series of apologies after saying on The View that the Holocaust wasn't about race. Her comments sparked a fresh round of backlash, with many people calling for her to be fired. In her apology, she said she had misspoken and that she understood the deep pain and suffering that the Jewish community has endured. She expressed her regret for any harm her words have caused and stated that her support for the Jewish community was unwavering. Unfortunately, her apologies didn't seem proportionate to the damage done. Goldberg was later suspended by ABC for 2 weeks after her comments. The suspension was announced on Monday with a statement from the network saying Goldberg had, quote, made some statements on The View that were deeply offensive and hurtful. The CEO of ABC, Kim Godwins, addressed the situation personally, saying that while Whoopi had apologized, she had asked her to take time to reflect on and learn about the impact of her comments. She also stated that the entire ABC News organization stands in solidarity with its Jewish colleagues, friends, family, and communities. Since then, Goldberg has returned as co-host of the talk show. She's been a co-host on The View since 2007, and while her latest comments on the Holocaust may not be the final nail in the coffin of her career, only time will tell if she'll be able to redeem herself in the eyes of the public. What the Jewish community has to say about the situation. In the wake of Whoopi's recent comments, many Jews and Jewish leaders have spoken out against her. Rabbi Abraham Cooper, Associate Dean of the Simon Wiesenthal Center, said that Goldberg's comments were offensive and insensitive. He went on to say that the Holocaust was a unique event in human history in which 6 million Jews were systematically murdered by the Nazi regime and its collaborators solely because they were Jews. Many people in the Jewish community have responded to her apology with skepticism and criticism. Some say her words are empty and lacked sincerity, while others believe she's simply trying to save her own skin. They argue her words are hurtful and offensive, but they show a lack of understanding of one of the most tragic events in human history. There are also those who argue that she should be given a chance to redeem herself, but it remains whether or not she'll be able to do so. Whoopi's biggest controversies over the years. Whoopi Goldberg has been no stranger to controversy during her decades-long career in Hollywood. From defending Bill Cosby and Mel Gibson to the Ray Rice domestic abuse scandal, Goldberg has never been afraid to speak her mind, even if it means ruffling a few feathers. While her most recent controversies came after she doubled down her opinion on the genocide of the Jewish people, this isn't the first time Goldberg has found herself in hot water. Goldberg has been criticized for her support of convicted cop killer Mumia Abu-Jamal. Abu-Jamal was convicted of killing police officer Daniel Faulkner in 1981 and sentenced to death. However, his sentence was later overturned, and he's currently serving a life sentence without parole. Goldberg has been an outspoken supporter of Abu-Jamal, calling him a political prisoner and saying he didn't receive a fair trial. In 2010, Goldberg came to Mel Gibson's defense after his ex-girlfriend, Oksana Grigorieva, posted alleged recordings of his rants online. In each of them, a man who sounds like the Oscar winner is heard making racist and sexist remarks in an argument with her, along with threatening her and acknowledging that he hit her. Goldberg said Gibson wasn't a racist despite his past derogatory remarks about Jews and African Americans. She claimed she knew Mel well and that he was not anti-Semitic. She also questioned why Gibson's ex-girlfriend would release the tapes on the internet instead of going to the cops first. In 2014, Goldberg made headlines when she suggested that NFL player Ray Rice shouldn't be banned from playing football after he was caught on camera assaulting his then-fiancée Janae Palmer in an elevator. During an appearance on The View, Goldberg said Rice should be given a second chance because, quote, people make mistakes all the time. Last but not least, in 2015, Goldberg found herself in more hot water after she defended Bill Cosby after he was accused of sexual assault by dozens of women. While many in Hollywood were quick to condemn Cosby, Goldberg said she wasn't ready to do so because she didn't have all the facts. She argued that as long as there's no way anyone can prove what did or didn't happen, she refuses to believe the masses. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think Whoopi Goldberg should be fired from The View? Let us know in the comments section below.